Hey friends, and welcome to Roaming Taste Videos. Today we are making hundreds and thousands cookie bars. These are absolutely not traditional, though they are a classic supermarket good that are in biscuit form in New Zealand, and I'm sure there are going to be some Kiwis out there who are super offended by the idea of me calling it cookie bars versus biscuit bars. But biscuit bars just seem healthier than what these are, so that's why I've gone for cookie bars. I would love to know if you give these a go, so add a comment below, tag me on Instagram Roaming Taste, and subscribe for more videos like this. We'll want to ensure our egg is room temperature before we begin, and we'll also want to preheat our oven to 180 degrees Celsius or 350 degrees Fahrenheit. We'll also want to line a square baking tin with greaseproof paper before we get started on our cookie bars. Now, we want to place that butter and sugar into a bowl and beat, if we have an electric mixer, on medium until it is pale and fluffy, so approximately 3 minutes. The reason we do this is we really want to cream our butter and sugar. This is the foundation of our cookie bars, so we want to ensure that the butter has had sufficient air whipped into it. It also allows the sugar to be evenly dispersed throughout that butter, and that also means the sugar begins dissolving into the butter. So it creates this perfect foundation for a nice light cookie that we add all our other ingredients to, which we then add our egg and our vanilla extract to. That egg doesn't just give extra moisture to our cookie bars, it also helps bind all the ingredients, and the vanilla extract is adding that beautiful light vanilla undertone and depth of flavor to our cookie bars. So we'll want to incorporate that egg and vanilla extract for approximately a minute to really ensure it's really well combined and that effectively all our moist ingredients are nice and consistently mixed through. And then we introduce our baking powder and our flour. I didn't bother sieving either of these ingredients, and also I didn't bother mixing them together in a separate bowl, because we need to beat this ever so lightly on the lowest setting until there is no dry portion remaining. They will get thoroughly scattered throughout our dough anyway. Once we have incorporated to the point where there's no dry portions remaining on any parts of the edges of our bowl, we want to stop mixing, and our mixture will look quite clumpy, but that's okay, that's what we want it to look like. The easiest thing to do is to just simply pour it into our baking tin, and then you can try and smooth this mixture with a spatula. I tried with an offset spatula because I've made this more than once, and I have to say you can try and smooth it out. The easiest thing to do though is to actually just use your hands. By using your hands and pressing down the cookie dough into the entire base of your tin, you're going to not only really make this nice and compact and as smooth as possible, but also you'll be able to feel where there are patches where the cookie dough is maybe a little bit uneven, or it needs a little bit more packing from other portions of the dough. So once you have pressed this nicely firmly into the tin to your happiness, you'll want to place the cookie bars in the oven for 20 minutes until they're ever so lightly golden. Remove and just let it sit to cool. Meanwhile, we'll want to make our raspberry buttercream. So we'll want to place, just like actually with our cookies, we'll want to beat our butter. Now, this is made in a traditional buttercream way. If you've never made buttercream before, what you want is softened butter, so it leaves an indent when you press into it, and you'll want to beat it until it's really nice and pale, so approximately 3 minutes. This isn't a huge portion of butter. If you had any more than 100 grams or 3.5 ounces of butter, I would definitely beat for longer. But 3 minutes is sufficient to really aerate our butter and ensure that there is no lumps. It is really smooth and it is really nice and pale. Before we begin adding in our confectioners or icing sugar, we add in a tablespoon at a time and we incorporate fully, ensuring that I'm using the biggest bowl ever for a small portion of buttercream, but we want to make sure that we're really mixing and incorporating all of the butter in our bowl with that sugar before we then add another tablespoon. So you'll want to mix for approximately 30 seconds each time. Once you have fully incorporated all of that sugar, that's when we get to adding in our jam, which I'm going to show you how to strain here. I just used a little tea strainer to color my buttercream. You can absolutely, if you prefer, you can definitely use food coloring. I don't love food coloring. I prefer to just be able to control the ingredients in my baked goods, and raspberry jam adds just a nice little flavor. You can use less than the recommended amount in the recipe. 1 tablespoon strained will make this a super pale, really pale pink buttercream. But once you have added in the jam and the salt and incorporated those fully to a pink that you're happy with, these usually aren't a super bright pink, but you want the pink to be visible, so that's why I've gone for about 20 grams. And you'll see once the jam and the salt are fully incorporated into our buttercream, that it is a nice soft pink color that will also be doused with sprinkles. So once we have incorporated it, we'll probably only need to mix on a low setting for approximately 20 to 30 seconds, just to really make sure we've got all of the buttercream fully incorporated with that jam. And before we add the buttercream to the top of our cookie bars, we'll want to mark out the edges of all of the edges of our bars to ensure we have measured out the full size of the bars we're going to be cutting them into. Once we have smeared over with our buttercream, this will just make sure that it's a much easier process if we do this before we add the buttercream versus after. In the original recipe I have on my blog, which it will be linked in the caption below, I made this into 16 bars. On this occasion I cut it into 12 bars. You could probably even cut it into 20 or 24 if you wanted them to be smaller bites. These are quite tasty though, I will say. Even with 12, they disappear really quickly in our house. And once you have thoroughly smeared over with an offset spatula, or even the back of a tablespoon if you don't have an offset spatula, to make sure it just is hitting the edges of all of your bars, then you'll want to sprinkle over the sprinkles, the hundreds and thousands, and then you'll want to ensure you cut along those marks as you have previously measured out. And then you're done, friends. I really truly hope you enjoy these, and do let me know in the comments below your thoughts, and subscribe for more videos like this.